Welcome to Nick Saban Jr. Sports Talk TV. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Please like and subscribe. Today, got my man Josh. I'm on my guy Sutton again. We back at it again, and today we'll be discussing basically our final thoughts, our takeaways from the 8A game, and we'll be doing a NFL draft showdown. You on the clock now as we speak. So, Sutton, take it away, my guy.
We all know we had a good spring game last Saturday. Me and Josh were in attendance for that. So we'll just get to a few little takeaways, and we'll obviously we'll start where all the conversation was. Talk about the quarterback competition. We've been hearing some rumors about Tyler Buckner possibly joining the team, as well as Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. Buckner's a Notre Dame guy, has some familiarity with Tommy Rees, but I don't think Alabama should do that, and I don't think they will. I think Nick Saban he's talked about the quarterbacks have struggled over the spring a little bit, but they have made some wow plays, and we saw a bunch of those on Saturday. We also saw a bunch of drops from the receivers as well, so they weren't helping their quarterbacks out as much as possible. But I think we're good with the two guys we've got there. I'm very confident that Milrow or Simpson won, and maybe even Dylan Lonergan could get the job done this year. Making sure they turn the ball over the least amount because they don't have to be Bryce Young. So, Josh, I was going to kind of give it to you here, but I thought just a couple of takeaways from the quarterbacks. I thought that Dylan Lonergan actually had the best drive of the day. I think it was his first or second drive. He went 8 plays, 75 yards, took the team right down. I know it was against the second team defense, but just looked very poised and comfortable in the backfield. Kind of reminded me of, and just in terms of a mentality, Jalen Hurts comp right there, just from his freshman year, not letting the moment get too big for him. I think Jalen Milrow obviously is the better athlete, the best athlete of the four quarterbacks. Made a bunch of wild throws, like the throw on the sideline to Kendrick Law, one of the better throws of the game, as well as the touchdown pass to Henderson in the back corner. But going back and watching the tape, I think I was a little bit more impressed with the way Ty Simpson composed himself and made some good throws, played well on the run. We found out today he has a dislocated finger and a UCL sprain. But at this point in time, in my opinion, I think the quarterback battle is pretty even heading into the spring and heading into fall camp. So I think that battle is going to have to be won in fall camp. I'm still going to give the edge to Jalen Milrow just because of experience. But Josh, I kind of want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent scrimmage. You don't want to take too much out of A Day, but I think you really saw where the quarterbacks were at. And like last year, you know who Bryce Young was, even though he didn't have the best day. But this year is really showcasing what we haven't seen out of some quarterbacks. Our first opportunity to see Lonergan and Holstein. I thought Lonergan was very, very surprising, probably one of the most surprising players on the field on Saturday. Holstein seemed a little rattled at times. That interception he threw, there was clearly a miscommunication there on the play call. Reminded me of that Tua national championship throw where he threw it to Ridley, who was run blocking. So like that, but I'm not putting too much on Holstein. I originally thought he was going to be ahead of Lonergan, but I think Lonergan shocked a lot of people this spring with how he's played. Wasn't impressed crazy with either two of the quarterbacks. I thought Milrow had the highest of highs. That 35-yard touchdown was unreal. And then Ty decides to next play run a 55-yard option of his own. So I thought that was cool. You could see the competitive fire between them, but I just didn't think either one of them gave too much of a dominant outing that said, okay, this guy's going to be the front runner heading into it. I still think Ty probably will be the guy by the end of the year. But just, some of his, I didn't think he was as, I don't know. Sometimes in the pocket, it just looked like he was looking for other options and he wasn't as, confident. Milrow, so that interception, I won't blame him for the one at the end of the first half with the Hail Mary because that was, just a random play like that. And, there's not much talk you want to put into that. But that first interception he had was pretty bad. Ty's should have been a touchdown too if he led Prentice. But Milrose was just like a lack of awareness, no receiver over there. That's something I'd worry about. Just like either throw the ball away or just know that, I know you can't get sacked there, but, don't throw it straight to Christian Story there. But other than that, I was really impressed with the defense more than anything. The intensity of Kevin Steele's defense was very fun to see. Jake Pope, Jahad Campbell, Caleb Downs, and Malachi Moore were probably my 4 favorite players this weekend with how they performed. Just the intensity they played with, the physicality. Really happy with what I saw of the defense.
I was going to go back to what you said about the Milrow interceptions because I have to defend my guy here. But so like you said, yes, the halftime one. Yeah, that you can't. It's just a throw up. And sometimes, and that's something the stat sheet can't measure. Stat sheet's not going to tell you, hey, he was just throwing the ball up in the end zone at halftime. It just goes down as a pick. But I think the pick on the 1 yard line, yeah, you can't take a sack there, especially in the 8A game when it's a touch, you're getting touched and you're sacked. But and we don't know what was going on in that play. There maybe could have been another miscommunication, just like Ty's interception. Like I wouldn't put that interception on Ty necessarily.
You mean Holstein?
Holstein, excuse me, yeah, Holstein.
It
I wouldn't
was a good
necessarily
throw.
put that on him. Yeah, it wasn't. It would have been a good throw if it was a curl route, maybe he probably thought it was going to be, and that could be his fault. Well, we don't know. So, and like you said, we can't put too much into A-Day. Sorry, Nick Saban, I just want to say that.
Nah, it's cool, but overall, I was impressed with Lonergan. He was a big shocker to me, and the main 2 guys. So I looked at it several different ways. One of the things I look if the wide receivers catch more passes, I don't think we will necessarily have the same narrative that we're having right now. They didn't look overly impressive, but I kind of expected it still in the 8A game because if you look in the past 8A games, quarterbacks really don't explode like that. Maybe the 3rd string quarterback may explode at times, but we have had tons of 8A games where the quarterback play wasn't impressive at all, and we still come back and win national championships. And for Miro, I'm going to say this. Elijah Pritchard was getting worked over there on the left side by an experienced guy, Quindarius Robinson. And I think, 9 sacks or something like that at one point?
I think Milrow was sacked 7 times.
7 times. And I look at it like this. And I look at it like this. Live game action, those were touch sacks as well. So live game actions, he probably gets away from quite a bit of those. So I look at it like that as well. So even for both guys, it possibly more plays that could have happened, even though we want them to sit back there and throw the ball and all that. But I look at it that way too. But overall, I feel like with these 2 guys, they're neck and neck still. Nobody pulled away from each other. And as of right now, I still like Miro, but I am not counting Ty Simpson out by any means. And I feel like with these 2 guys, I feel like we, by the end of fall camp, I feel like we be where we want to be with these guys. But the defensive side of the ball, I love everything I see on the defensive side of the ball. They did not look confused. Even last year's spring game, if you look at them they still looked confused. They wasn't playing fast. Saturday, they was playing fast. They know what they was doing. They knew their assignments. The secondary looked good. Jake Pope, hey, Bryson Hubbard, them dudes did some things. Malachi Moore, hey, I'm confident back there. Hey, I wish I would have called this before the game. Christian Story, I said he was going to have a pick 6. He was very close to it.
Yeah.
He was very close to it.
Yeah.
But overall, I was impressed with Justin Jefferson. One of the things people try to say he's too small, but I always go back to this. When you a baller, when you can play football, hey, that size don't matter sometimes. And I feel like he's going to be a key piece to our defense on 3rd down situations. But overall, I was impressed with the trenches. O-line and D-line is just, we got to work out the left side. And I really think Elijah Pritchard will figure it out before beginning of the season. But those are my thoughts.
Well, and there's another good thing that we have is, and I'll say I sat probably 9 rows up, so I was pretty close to the field and I could see. And the first thing that I think stuck out to me, just looking at the team physically, was big number 74 on the O line, Caden Proctor. He just looks different. he looks completely different than he looks different than JC Latham. He's bigger, he looks stronger, and he's only 18, which is insane. And I thought just going back and watching the tape, I thought he had a phenomenal day. He
A nice
really good in
game.
pass pro. Yeah, really good in pass pro, really good in run coverage.
Yep.
So if I'm Elijah Pritchett, I might be getting to work this summer and fall because he's right up on his toes. He didn't come here to sit bench his freshman year. He came here to start. So Elijah Pritchett he's going to have to get a little bit better in pass pro if he's going to want to see the field in the fall. Because I would be completely fine with putting Caden Proctor out there at left tackle game one.
Me too.
There's no problem in my mind with that. And I think y'all both just alluded to the Kevin Steele effect already in play. Guys flying to the ball. I mean, I felt like every time that we were getting a tackle, there was 3 or 4 guys there.
Yes.
3 or 4 crimson jerseys on a white jersey. It was very refreshing to see. I haven't seen the defensive tenacity and aggressiveness like that in a while. And Saban alludes to this all the time, and he has, especially in the last few years. Now the defense hasn't been at the level or the Bama standard that people will say. I would rather have guys make mistakes flying to the ball with 110% effort than them thinking they're doing something right and not doing it correctly, or thinking they're in the same. I would much rather love to see the effort because, I mean, sometimes going back to last year, guys will just give up. And then Saturday, not giving up on tackles, hitting hard in the open field, getting in their gaps. I mean, it was very refreshing to see, and I really enjoyed watching the defense play. Y'all were talking about the safeties, and I'm very Jake Pope and Brayson Hubbard and those guys Devontae Smith didn't even play, and he's a guy that I think is probably a little bit better than both Hubbard and Pope. I didn't think that was going to be a very deep position for us this year, but that was definitely very refreshing to watch and very calming to know that, hey, if a guy goes down like Christian Story or Caleb Downs, we're going to have guys that they're going to want to go out there and play at 110%, play fast, physical ball. I mean, look at that. Proctor.
It's him next to Holstein and Braswell. I got that picture at the wall. And Holstein's like 6'4", and Braswell is too. So that shows you how big look at golly.
Oh yeah, he's massive. So, but yeah, like we were saying, Malachi Moore, he won. I think he won MVP for the game. Had a great game. And then I want to go ahead and say this. I was talking to Josh about it earlier today, and this, I don't know. You can tell me if I'm crazy, Nick Saban Jr., but I think Caleb Downs is the best player on the team right now, and just totally. Yes. Caleb Downs is the best player on the team right now.
Don't disrespect Kool-Aid.
And that's
I was just about to say, I don't know Kool-Aid look like, but I get it. I get it. You're not crazy.
No, Caleb, it's not. I mean,
it's not crazy. It's just I think Kool-Aid.
It's not crazy at all.
Kool-Aid, but Caleb, man, there's just something different. He's just different. He's different.
And you know what I noticed about him Saturday? He out there flying around the field, making plays. And even when the safety blitz, they trusted him to stay back and cover the back end. Like, he's a young kid, man, and you trusted him. You trust him for that assignment, and he wasn't looking over his shoulder like at the coaches to be like, "Hey, did I do it right? Did I do it right?" He was confident in what he was doing, man. So I love that about Caleb Downs. Yes, you're not crazy at all. You're not crazy at all, man.
He may be one of the most surefire tacklers I've seen too. Just like the certainty I have in him making a tackle. That was a problem we had about 7 or 8 years ago, where we just couldn't get off the field. Even with some of those elite defenses, tackling at times was a problem, like just wrapping guys up and keeping them down instead of letting them get 5-6 extra yards. Yep. I forgot who it was, but who did he blow up? It may have been – was it Shaz or – it was someone. It was like wide receiver screen. Downs just had him like he was square up to him, exploded through, didn't give any leeway room to escape. It may have been Bond, but I was really impressed with the surefireness of Downs as a tackler and physicality too. It looks like he's put a little weight on since he got to Alabama.
Yeah. Speaking of tackling,
he caught all his punts, even the ones that looked like they were looping down. Very impressed by Caleb.
And speaking of tackling, that's what I was impressed with too. We're actually wrapping up this year. We're actually wrapping up with our tackles this year. And let me go back to the offensive side of the ball. I can say I'm really excited about this Tommy Reese offense, man. I'm really excited about this Tommy Reese offense. Because one thing I noticed, he attacks the middle of the field. And we didn't attack the middle of the field a lot last season. Like, not at all. And by us attacking the middle of the field, that's going to allow us to be able to run the ball more. It's going to open up that vertical game more as well. And the route, I noticed the route concepts has changed for the better this season too.
That really opened things up for guys like Kobe Prentice too. You know, he lives
Yes.
around the middle of the field a lot, and guys like Kendrick Law, who maybe aren't the fastest guy, but can find spots like a John Mechie guy.
Yep.
Just find those little holes in the defense. I think it would be good. And then also like Justice out of the backfield, Jace out of the backfield doing Texas routes. I think that will be very beneficial to them. The only thing we really didn't see was much motion, and that's you don't want to show your whole game on A-Day.
And I guarantee you with Tommy Reese, he's going to do that when the season starts. He's going to do. Just think about what if Tommy Reese comes out in 13 personnel. He wants to bring out C.J. Dupree, Danny Lewis Jr., and put a Martin Black, spread the Martin Black out, man. He's going to put so much strain on these defenses this season. I'm excited to see what he has to offer.
Well, and like they were saying, Saban doesn't want to run a very he wants to run a very simplistic offense and defensive schemes in A-Day, so teams can't really take anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I saw the Jermaine Burton pass, and I was like, what are we doing here? I don't ever want to see that in a game.
And my man, somebody was wide open too on that play.
Yeah, don't let Jermaine Burton ever do that again.
Oh, it was Chaz. Chaz was going
Maybe we should find someone who played quarterback in high school or something that can make that throw. But Jermaine Burton is probably not the guy.
That is a play for Jalen Milroe. Put tight quarterback on that. Put Milroe at receiver and do that pitch. Milroe can choose to run or he can throw. That is a perfect play for Jalen Milroe.
And I'm telling you, Josh, if you're a smart defensive coordinator, you'll see that play coming from a million miles away.
Yeah, but we had two guys open, so it baffled them. But you can also, but if they lapse onto the receivers, he can run. And like I trust him to get a few yards.
If I was a defensive coordinator and saw Milroe in the lining up in the slot, I know they're going to give him the ball some way, somehow. I would have two guys on him. I'd make sure that our linebackers went back. I mean, I don't think we'll see that this year. I'll be honest.
Or the first time you do it, just do it like you did with Tua and put him as a decoy, but don't let him get hit in the face like Tua did.
Well, but I mean,
there's ways you can avoid it not giving it away. You can run it in different sets. You don't have to run that exact play. But I think that'd be real cool if Milroe was, if they did that option and put two quarterbacks on the field. I think that'd be.
Well, I mean, I think Milroe is going to be the one taking snaps, so going to be kind of hard to get him in that receiver spot when he's actually playing quarterback.
Or you could put him like in a bubble screen, run behind him because he worked out receivers.
Josh just wants Ty Simpson on the
field. There's a lot of potential.
Oh man,
that's wild.
But you just did mention Justice Haynes out of the backfield, and I was telling Josh earlier today, Nick Saban Jr., I think he's going to end up being running back one by the end of the year.
Man,
he's just too talented to keep off the field. And I know it'll be a running back room by committee, but he's got all the tools.
He's got all the tools. After what I seen Saturday, I was like, yeah, I think he gonna have that thing sold up too. I agree.
The Georgia boys were really up and down. The Georgia boys were really up and down. Lonergan, Justice, and Caleb were great, but then you got Burton and Pritchett who had the down days. So,
well, Burton's not from Georgia. He went to Georgia, but he's not from Georgia, so we can't claim him, right?
No, can't claim him.
but yeah. So, and then I think you and me talking about it earlier today. I like Jermaine Burton, but I do think he's probably going to fizzle out of this receiving room, especially with the likes of Benson, Brooks, Bond, Prentice, and Kendrick Law getting playing time. I think those guys all kind of leave him in the dust per se. I think he actually might be possibly the sixth receiver on this team, which is not something crazy to say, So,
hey, do y'all remember I said that on one of the earlier shows we did together? I said,
Yeah.
And
And
it's
shoot,
not
Jalen.
really. It's not that I don't think he's good. He's so inconsistent that this is not the season where we need that. We don't need
Yeah.
that right now, man.
And he doesn't have
Well,
anything unique that separates him from everyone else.
Yes,
Like, he doesn't have floor
exactly.
speed. He's not the most reliable person to get open all the time. He showed an inability most of the time last year to have chemistry with Bryce Young on the deep ball. So I really don't know what like separates Burton from a Bond, what separates him from
And
a Prentice. Like,
wasn't he running with the two Saturday as well?
yep.
Yeah.
See,
It was Law. It was Law. He was technically the fifth guy because it was Law. Who was the first team? Law, Benson, Bond,
Brooks and
and
Law.
Brooks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think Saban likes him, and I know Saban's talked about him wanting to have more consistency. He's a veteran guy, but and I think the way this receiver room is going to work is kind of who has the hot hand. We've got so many guys, so many talented guys we can go in. I mean, whoever gets in there and does a good job is going to keep seeing more playing time. So I think it's going to be kind of, if Burton gets in and makes the most of his opportunities, he's going to stay in. That's just how it is. Same way with, I think your dark horse, Nick Saban Jr., Jalen Hale.
Yep.
I know he didn't have the most impressive 8A game. I thought he was all right. But if he gets hot, he's going to play.
Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of how it is this year, and I think it'll kind of continue to be that way because, I mean, Benson, I think he's going to end up being a dog, and I think Ja'Cory already is, but we don't have that standout dog like we did with Mechie and Jamin.
And I'm gonna tell you about this, like Ja'Cory Brooks. He dropped passes too, but I'm gonna tell you the difference between Ja'Cory Brooks and Burton drop passes. It looks like Ja'Cory Brooks goes 100% every time. Burton doesn't look like he give 100% every time to me, man.
No, especially on that touchdown pass. I knew Ty overthrew it, but it just looked like he stopped.
Yeah.
At least if you're like, I don't know, you could dive, I mean, and make it look like a better throw than it was. But that kind of like, it made the quarterback look bad, and it also made you look bad by stopping in the middle of the route.
Yep. And I kind of go back to Pritchett, kind of to the other side of what happened. I mean, I don't think Keanu Coate and Quandarius Robinson are getting enough credit for the job they did on A-Day. I thought both of them, even Coate had a couple really good rushes on J.C. Latham on the right side.
I mentioned him earlier in my video as well. I mentioned Keanu Coate.
They both looked really, really good. Really, two promising guys to have behind Braswell and Dallas Turner, and then obviously Keon Keeley's not even here yet, so we don't even know what his impact's going to be on this team. So I'm very, very encouraged by the edge rushers. They're going to be really good this year. And then kind of middle linebacker too. I know we were talking pre-show about it. Obviously Lawson's going to be one of those guys, and he didn't get to play much in spring. And I don't even think he played in the spring game. He did dress out, but had a big knee brace on his left knee for the spring game. But Jahad Campbell made some flashes on the first team.
Yes.
Tresman Marshall looks like he's going to be a really good run stopper type guy and at the linebacker spot, really getting downhill well. And then Justin Jefferson, obviously, I mean, he was just kind of everywhere covering great.
Yes.
So if I was thank God I'm not Nick Saban, but to me, what I think we'll end up doing is Lawson will be the guy that's there every down, but Tresman Marshall is probably going to be your first and second down guy that stands next to Lawson, kind of for the run. Not as good of a coverage guy, but a much better run stopper at that position. And then Jefferson and Campbell will just kind of swap in on third downs, and they're going to be the more of the coverage guy at middle linebacker.
Yep.
So those are my 8A takeaways. I thought it was a good game, and I'm very excited about the season. I think it's going to be a really good year. I think Alabama's going to have a really good year.
Yeah.
So,
and this is what I said. Overall, I'm very excited of what I seen. Like, that's why I did the video this morning, actually, and I didn't want to give an immediate reaction because I was going to be too emotional. Like, I was going to give raw feelings at the moment, and I had to go back and watch it several times to actually start. Okay, I see this for that. And okay, I understand what happened there, and I realized too, like with the sacks, it was a lot of pressures, and that's what I take away too from the quarterback. So it was a lot of pressures on the quarterbacks too with those sacks. So hey,
On
I'm
Caden
okay.
Proctor's side.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Alexander's feet were in quicksand all day.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, now we're going to get to the main event, guys, the NFL Draft Showdown. So I don't know about you guys, but I know Josh is the big recruiting guy, but I love the NFL Draft. I love paying attention to it. I'm a
Hey,
big
let me say this
yeah.
before you get going all the way. Doing this show made me be like, okay, now I know I need to prepare more into this because I never been into the draft that much, just the Bama guys and the main players. But now I was like, okay, next year I'm
Oh, yeah.
gonna really be prepared for this.
You got to get into the weeds, and
Yes,
I
sir.
like I was saying, I've been doing the mock drafts for a couple months now. I do one probably every day. I just like to see what changes with teams and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. But the Carolina Panthers have been on the clock for the last, I don't know, month and a half since they made that trade with the Chicago Bears. And I think, and it's kind of fluctuated in terms of odds who they were gonna take. I mean, for about 4 weeks there, it was C.J. Stroud, and now it's all pointing to Bryce Young. And so you really got to dive into when you're thinking about these mock drafts. You got to dive into, okay, who's best available player at this pick? What does this team need? What has this team done in the past? You got to kind of look at their patterns that they've done in the past. Who do they currently have on their roster? Obviously, is a big deal. And then you have to also take a look at who are the people making these decisions. It's a lot to take in, especially. I like college football more than I do the NFL just because of traditions and that it's a new team every year. But I love the NFL, platform and everything that they have and their structure. I think it's a lot different than college football. It's the same sport, but it's played differently. So I love each thing about the NFL as well. But to me, the draft is one of the best times of the year. As a Dallas Cowboys fan, I know we're a really good drafting team, have been with Jerry Jones.
Whoa. If I had on camera your
Yes,
reaction
I
last
know.
year,
I was not.
you would not have been saying that.
Well, last year, I will admit, when we drafted Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, I was like, I did not think that was going to be a good pick. And honestly, if the team would have stayed healthy last year, it wouldn't have been. Tyler Smith wouldn't have got on the field. But with the injuries at the injuries at the tackle positions, it ended up being a great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. So I won't react that strong this year. I kind of know who I want the Dallas Cowboys to take. But we'll get into that later. But I don't know. I know I was talking to Nick Saban Jr. He hadn't really done a mock draft, just kind of studied up a little bit. But Josh, do you have your mock draft?
Not an updated one, but I have a feeling of where I know the first few picks are going to go. I can.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get into this, guys. Let's start with the Carolina Panthers. I don't think they've traded up to this spot. They've talked about possibly trading it away if they like a couple guys similarly. But I think, and obviously, this is I'll be honest, I am not biased about this. I love my Alabama guys, but I'm not going to be biased in the way these are. I'm just picking it as I see it in terms of need, in terms of talent. So the Carolina Panthers, with their first pick, I think they're going to go with Bryce Young, quarterback of Alabama. He's the most NFL ready player at that position to go in and play. He's probably, besides C.J. Stroud, he's probably the second best passer. Probably has the second best upside behind Anthony Richardson. He's the safest pick and the best pick to go if you're going to pick a quarterback. So I think with the first pick, the Panthers will take Bryce Young and instantly probably have the best quarterback in there. Well, him and Derek Carr will be going back and forth for the best quarterback in that NFC South division. But I think this instantly makes Carolina alongside Atlanta, one of the favorites in that division.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Bryce Young with the number one pick.
I agree with you. I think Bryce goes one. I think I don't know how he's not the number one consensus pick. I mean, when guys like Kyler Murray are the consensus number one pick and Bryce is bigger, more proven as a passer, I find it difficult to see how Bryce isn't player one. He'd be the first Alabama player, I think, in a long time, maybe in the modern NFL, to go number one. I think our highest draft pick is number 3. who's been like Marcel Darius, Quinnen Williams, Trent Richardson, have all been drafted at that third pick. But I don't think we've had one or two. And there's a real chance we get both number 1 and 2 from Alabama, which would be there's two guys, no more guys that deserve it than Bryce and Will.
Yep. I agree with the Bryce Young, man. Like, I'm gonna say this. To me, Bryce Young was a no doubter. It was an easy pick, but going through the combine process, they tried to hype up Anthony Richardson, and I don't buy that hype because I buy into the product of what you did on the field. I mean, nice size, how high you can jump, fast you can run, all that stuff is cool. But I look at what are you doing on the field on Saturdays against quality opponents, and that makes it a no-brainer for me. Bryce Young is the easiest pick to me, the safest pick if you want to go quarterback. So I agree with y'all guys with Bryce Young.
And back to your point about what you're doing on Saturdays, I do think it definitely matters how you play against other opponents. But in the Will Levis, and this is just for this quarterback class. I mean, you've got your four big quarterbacks. You've got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson. Now, look at Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud's teams that they played on, Alabama and Ohio State. Especially Ohio State. I mean, and that's kind of crazy to say that they had a little bit more talent on offense than Alabama did.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud's out there throwing to Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. I mean, those are some of the two of those have already been first-round draft picks. One's going to be a first-round draft pick this year, and one's going to be a first-round draft pick next year. So the talent that he has is insane. The talent Bryce Young had, J-Mo and John Mechie, both of those guys. Will Levis at Kentucky and Anthony Richardson at Florida would die to have one of those guys. I think Anthony Richardson's number one target in his couple years there was Pearsall, number one, and I don't even know his first name. And so, I mean, he just didn't have much talent around him. And same goes for Will Levis. He had one guy go. He was a receiver go last year for Kentucky. I can't remember his name, but he was drafted, I think, in like the 3rd or 4th round. So, yes, you can make the comparison. What did they do on Saturdays? But also you got to look at the talent around them that they had in college. I think that's another reason why Richardson's discredited, and Levis is discredited. But in reality, they're amazing talents. They just have to put it all together, and that's what the NFL's for. They're there to, coach them up a little bit more than what they were in college. So back to the actual draft though. So we had consensus Bryce Young at number 1, and then now we have the Houston Texans at number 2. They are really a team that needs everything.
Everything. A team. They need a team.
They need team. And, just hired former Alabama player, defense coordinator at San Francisco 49ers, D'Amico Ryans. I think is probably the hire of the offseason. I think he's going to end up being probably one of the better head coaches in the NFL. Really excited to see what he's going to do. But, man, they have a couple good pieces on offense with Dameon Pierce and John Mechie, and then they actually just signed away my tight end Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. They got him for a 1-year, $9 million deal, kind of a steal, honestly. He was making more money last year with the Cowboys than $9 million. So a few nice pieces on offense. Probably the best left tackle in the game too on that offensive line. So they have, and that wouldn't be a bad spot for a quarterback, but this is where I think the draft this season is centered around this second pick. What Houston does this year is really going to decide the draft for many teams. If they go quarterback's going to go quick. So I think teams are going to jump up, and that third spot is going to be highly coveted that the Arizona Cardinals have. But I think, and this is going to be the biggest shakeup, I think the Houston Texans are going to trade for Trey Lance from the San Francisco 49ers and have him as their starting quarterback this year because of that familiarity with Ryans. He's kind of I would say his NFL comparison, in my opinion, is a Deshaun Watson. We haven't gotten to see it yet because he was sat behind Garoppolo his first year, and then his second year got injured in the second game of the season. But I think Trey Lance might be the guy that D'Amico Ryan says, okay, I know about this guy. I've seen him in practice 2 years now. If he likes him enough, I feel like he'll go out and get him. And I think he could get him for a little bit cheaper than most people think. I think that they could trade they have the 33rd pick in the NFL draft this year, the second round selection. I think they'll trade that selection for Trey Lance, and that'll be the Texans quarterback of the future. So I think they'll be able to hold on to this number 2 pick, and they're just going to go best available on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's Will Anderson Jr., the edge rusher from the University of Alabama. I think he's a guy that's going to set the tone on the edge for many years to come for the Houston Texans, and I think that's where D'Amico Ryans goes. He wants to build his defense. So the Houston Texans will have Trey Lance, and then they'll have Will Anderson with the 2nd pick.
How are you saying they're getting Trey Lance with the 12th?
The 33rd pick and the second round, their second round selection.
That is awesome. This is something I did not think about.
Yeah.
That is wow.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what you kind of have to. And there's been a ton of talk this week about guys being dealt. I mean, Derrick Henry might be dealt during the NFL draft. Dalvin Cook might be dealt during the NFL draft. Trey Lance is another guy that is probably going to end up being dealt. I think I saw a few other guys, but guys that have their contracts aren't much. You know, they're not playing on amazing teams, or they're not going to play this year. I mean, in Trey Lance's case, Brock Purdy's probably going to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers this year. So, you know, you got to, and I kind of took that into account and it makes a lot of sense to me for the Houston Texans giving up a 2nd round pick for a starting quarterback that could end up being a franchise quarterback. I mean, uber talented. So that to me makes the most sense for them. And I also think they get one of the best players in the draft, if not the best player in the draft, in Will Anderson.
Yes, that's wow.
So what are y'all's?
I'm gonna tell you. Honestly, I thought Will Anderson, because of D'Amico Ryans, is a defensive guy, Alabama dude, and I don't know why I thought that would play a factor. But honestly, I thought I would think that would go Will Anderson. I know they need a quarterback as well, but I didn't really think about he could go for a trade and get Trey Lance or somebody like that. But I thought Will Anderson would be the 2nd guy, and I really don't have much behind it. But you really put my mind up with that thought.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh, are you on the Will Anderson too at the Texans spot?
I hope so, but I actually hope Houston trades up to number 1 because I want to see matching Bryce together. I want to see those Alabama quarterback receiver duos, but I think it's a formality now that Bryce is going 1 to Carolina, unless they get a crazy package from Colts, from the Texans, or even the Raiders. So I think it's going to be. I think Will, because I've heard the Texans really value the S2 test, so they're not really willing to take a chance too much on someone like Stroud. And I think they're so high on Bryce, they're not like Bryce is up here. Anthony Richardson and Will Levis are here, and Stroud maybe lower than them all for Houston. So I think Will could go there, but I've also heard a lot of smoke around Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech that they think he has more upside than Will, which I think is. I mean, I haven't seen much of Tyree Wilson, but I've never seen a defensive player as talented as Will at Alabama. So I don't know how you can say he doesn't have upside. I think he can grow more. He's one of the fastest. He's really fast. He's a leader. I think Will should be going number 2 to Houston the way things have shaken up in the last week.
And here's another little caveat that I've heard this week. So apparently Will Levis's his odds to go number 1 have gone from plus 4,000 to plus 400. So there's a 4-to-1 odd right now that Will Levis gets drafted first overall. And that's because he's been telling family and friends that the Panthers have informed him that they're going to take him with the number 1 overall pick. Now, he could just be saying this. But that would be huge, because then that makes you wonder how much does Houston actually like Bryce Young if Levis was to get picked first overall to the Panthers. Would they take Bryce Young? Would they? I don't know. I mean, I think in my opinion, Carolina's going to take Bryce Young, but if they don't, he's off the board at 2 with Houston. Houston gets him. Yeah. So Bryce is going to go 1 or 2. But that, man, what a world we'd be living in if Will Levis got picked number 1 overall to the Panthers. I don't see it happening.
That'd be a shocker.
You never know.
He should be banned for putting mayo in coffee. eating a banana the way he does. So.
Man, that was wild. I'm like, huh?
Eating the
What
banana
is
with the
going?
peel on. Yeah. Yeah.
He
But
his brain needs scanned. I think teams should invest in that before he. They should check for. Well, I know you can't check for CTE till death, but he may already have some early brain damage.
well, with the third pick and currently owned by the Arizona Cardinals, I think, and they're not in a position to draft a quarterback because they have Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Don't think they'll do that. It would shock me if they went quarterback at this spot. This pick is going to be very highly coveted. I mean, they're talking about possibly getting 3 first-round picks in return for this third overall pick, which is crazy to think of. But I've actually have them trading down. I have Arizona trading down and swapping picks with Baltimore Ravens. I have the Baltimore Ravens going from 22 to 3. And Baltimore is also going to give up a 2024 first round and second round pick to the Arizona Cardinals so they can have the third pick. And with the third pick, the Baltimore Ravens are going to draft Lamar Jackson's replacement, Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
They have the offense currently set up for Anthony Richardson. They're not going to want to pay Lamar Jackson what he's wanting. Lamar will be there in 2023. Now, if he decides to play or not, that's kind of up to him. But I think it would be good for Richardson to kind of get a year to sit back and learn from Lamar and Tyler Huntley, another guy who's respected among NFL circles for constantly coming in for Lamar when he's filled in for Lamar being hurt. I think this is a perfect spot for Richardson. Not a ton of talent in Baltimore in terms of just offensive weapons, but definitely a place that's going to try and get some more talent. And if they draft Richardson, they've got their quarterback of the future and can let go and can feel at peace letting go of Lamar. Like I said, I've been talking about how I think Anthony Richardson is the most talented player, quarterback in this draft class. I think he has the highest upside. He definitely doesn't have the highest floor, but I definitely think he has the highest upside. Kind of compare him to a Josh Allen type player in terms of the way he was in college and the way he is. He's uber talented, very athletic, cannon of an arm. Just got to get in between the ears, have to get a little bit better. But I think this is a perfect situation for him. And man, what some fireworks Baltimore could do if they ended up trading and taking him with that third pick.
Whew. Y'all guys on this. With all that being said, I'm gonna say it makes sense for them to go Anthony Richardson because I really don't believe they're finna pay Lamar at all. I'm with you on that one. And
so you think Baltimore's going to trade up too, or do you think Arizona takes their pick?
No, I'm saying Baltimore's trading up and taking. I'm
asking
Richardson.
Nick. Does he think that that trade's going to happen, or you think Arizona just going to take their pick?
I mean, okay, this is what I will say. If I was Arizona, I think I would take the pick. And if I took the pick, if I was Arizona, I'll probably go offensive lineman. Or the dude from Texas Tech that we were just talking about, the edge rusher. Or him.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm thinking what my mindset, what I would do, because y'all know I like the trenches, but I think they will probably go with Tyreek Wilson. Whatever his name is.
I'm gonna say Jalen Carter. I think.
No, so I think if they take the pick, which I'll be honest, I think there's probably a 5% chance they actually stay at 3. I think they're gonna. I think Baltimore would be the smart person to trade up. I think that would be a good situation for them, just in terms of. But I mean, I think they're gonna trade that pick for sure. But if they do stay there, I would agree Tyree Wilson would be the guy I'd take at 3. But they can get so much capital for that.
I was just about to elaborate on what you were saying though. Like, but it would make sense for Ravens to trade up because, like you said, they're not gonna pay Lamar. But Anthony Richardson will be the quarterback, the easiest transition over to a team that's already built around the style of quarterback he is. I can see that. I can see that well.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get down the board here because we are just going to do the first round, and we'll probably stop there after we do the first round. But number 4 pick is going to be the Indianapolis Colts, and they're obviously in a position to take a quarterback. I think they're going to Will Levis here is the obvious draft. I think we can all kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah,
CJ Stroud.
Reportedly, the
Oh
Indianapolis
yeah,
Colts
if CJ Stroud is on the board, that might shake it up. That might.
Well,
apparently the Colts have talked so much about how they like Levis as their number one guy. So
Oh, wow.
I think
even though
Levis
they
is a
Bryce
scam
Young,
now. The way he's talking, I think
so
can
I
Levis be
think
trusted?
I think this is Will Levis all the way right here at Florida Indianapolis. And that way through the first 4 picks, we've got 3 quarterbacks already off the board, which is insane. We'll skip down here to
and which is the same at this point. What talking about for Colts?
Yeah, you think it'd be Stroud or Levis?
Oh, I think it'd be Levis because I've been hearing too much talk from the Colts about Levis.
Yeah.
Well, which is the same 3 quarterbacks off the board at this point. What we're talking about, and it's not CJ Stroud at this point.
Yeah, and after him taking that cognitive test and apparently not going to the Manning Passing Academy, he's got a lot of his stocks kind of trended down, I think, a little bit. But with the 5th pick, Seattle Seahawks actually have this pick from a previous team from last year from a trade. I think they actually got it from the Denver Broncos. They're going to take Tyree Wilson, the edge guy out of Texas Tech. Be a great addition to their defense. They're really defensive. They're really needy in the front 7 on defense. That's kind of where they need to improve, I think, the most. So I think that's a really good pick for them with Tyree Wilson.
And this is why I would have put Jalen Carter. That's why I was going to put Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and I think Jalen Carter goes next at 6 overall to the Detroit Lions. I think they would be more than thrilled to take him at 6. And I know everything that's happened with the law that with what was going on there at Georgia with him. And a lot of people think that's going to turn his stock down, but I really don't. I think this is a perfect situation for the Lions. And honestly, the Lions actually have the 18th pick as well in this draft. They might end up having the best draft, first round draft of any other team, especially if they can get Carter at 6. I mean,
boy Anthony. All right, Anthony Richardson going here at 6 to the Lions. I think he'll be
really.
Yep, okay. That's where I think he goes.
They got. Oh man, that'd be wild.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I think Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions head coach, has really praised Jared Goff since he's been there, and Jared Goff had a really good season last year. I think he's really going to pick up on that season and can carry it into this year and be their franchise quarterback for a few more years at least. And he looked very good last year. At 7, the 7th overall, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this has been one of my lock picks for a long time, and I think this is Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. They need to get a guy that can protect Jimmy Garoppolo and block for Josh Jacobs, and I think Paris Johnson Jr. is going to definitely be that guy at left tackle for them this upcoming season.
I got Will Levis here.
Interesting.
And I can't think of his name. The Northwestern offensive lineman.
Peter Skoronsky.
Yes, that's who I. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely.
Because I was thinking the same thing. Block, protect your investments.
Now, whether they go Johnson or Skoronsky, whichever one they think is better, but in just terms of me watching tape, I think Johnson's a little bit better, a little bit more physical. Now the 8th pick. One a lot of people down here in the South aren't going to like. The Atlanta Falcons are going to take C.J. Stroud, quarterback from Ohio State.
Why won't they like that? They need a quarterback.
Well, I think, and just talking to a few of my buddies that are Falcons fans, a lot of them think they need a lot more than just quarterback. And this year they don't have a ton of talent on offense. And they have a good running back in Algier, a good receiver in Drake London, good tight end in Kyle Pitts. But I think it's just too good of a situation to pass up. And C.J. Stroud with Atlanta at 8, not having to move up to grab him, I think that's a perfect situation for them. C.J. Stroud will be the next quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. And then I don't know who
you got Miles Murphy here.
Miles Murphy, okay, yeah. And then with the 9th pick, it's currently owned by the Chicago Bears. I think they're actually going to trade out of that spot. They're going to trade down to 16. Swap picks with the Washington Commanders, and I think the Washington Commanders are going to draft the best corner in this draft, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. They need a lockdown guy in the secondary, and I think they'll go with Christian out of Oregon. He's a very good defender, great
Hey,
in zone. So
I just want to ask y'all this. Do y'all think Washington Commanders sticking their quarterback situation out? They got Sam
I
Howell.
do. I think they're confident in Sam Howell, and they're going to ride with him this year as their quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do I have here? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find my mock draft. What pick? This is
the 9th pick. The Chicago Bears own it.
I got Devin Witherspoon.
Okay.
Illinois.
Yeah. Chicago would be, I think, thrilled to have him as well. With the 10th pick, Philadelphia Eagles currently own it. I think they will stick with that pick, and they're going to draft Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas.
Yes, sir.
That would be a huge get for them, especially now they have Rashard Penny and Kenneth Gainwell. They traded Miles Sanders away. Boy, what? And actually, Bijan gave an interview today about which quarterback he'd love to hand him the ball, and he said Jalen Hurts. So I think this is a perfect situation. Sadly for me as a Cowboys fan, but as Bijan will be tearing the Cowboys up for a few years. But I definitely think Bijan would be a great situation for Bijan to go to Philly here at 10.
I agree with that one. I agree with Bijan on that one. I was going back and forth with him and Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think Bijan is the type of back he has Derrick Henry potential. Not saying he's going to be a Derrick Henry, but I feel like Bijan has that potential.
Yeah, I think he reminds me a lot of when Saquon kind of came into the league. Maybe not as high as Saquon, but definitely one of those guys, game-changing running backs for sure.
I had this is 10, right? Yeah, I had Jackson Smith and Jigba to fill out that slot spot for the Philadelphia Eagles.
So at 11 is the Tennessee Titans, and a lot of people thought they might go quarterback, but I don't think they're going to want to trade up, especially if they – I'm not saying they're going to tank, but they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this upcoming year. I think they will be – I think they might even be in play for Caleb Williams or Drake May next year. A lot of people think those are two of the better quarterbacks we've seen in recent memory. So I think they're going to go ahead and prepare for that quarterback. Got one more year of Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis, whichever one they want to run with. I think they're going to pick Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, at pick number 11.
At that pick, I have Peter Skoronski, Taylor Lewan, suffered a brutal injury, and he's now off the team. I think they're going to try to get a tackle here, and I know you guys had Skoronski going earlier. I just think,
Yeah.
I actually haven't had Skoronski go yet.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay. I feel like he just screams Tennessee Titan to me. So
I've got Skoronski going right here. Currently, the 12th pick is owned by Houston. I think they're going to trade back and trade with the New York Jets. The New York Jets are going to trade up and get their their right tackle for new quarterback Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to go Skoronski out of Northwestern here at 12.
Okay.
And then obviously 13 Green Bay losing Aaron Rodgers, getting that 13th pick from the Jets. Never got Aaron Rodgers a receiver, but guess what? They're going to get Jordan Love a receiver. They're going to get Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State receiver off the board, in my opinion, here at 13.
I had where's my God, it's not even showing up.
Oh no.
At that pick, I had Quentin Johnson. I think I go in 12. I think they need a receiver at 12 for Quentin Johnson. That's for the Texans, and at 13. Now it's the Packers, right? Packers traded up to 13. So I went with Pitts, D. Lyman, Cansey from.
Okay. Yeah. And then obviously New England Patriots have the 14th pick. Had a little bit of a rough time the past couple of years protecting Mac Jones. So I think they're going to go offensive tackle here. I think they're going to grab Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle out of Tennessee, kind of beefing up that O-line. They went Cole Strange last year, a strange pick. A lot of teams had him as a third-round grade, and he was picked in the first round by the Patriots last year. But they're going to continue to build that O-line, I think, here and get right out of Tennessee. Probably, I would say, my fourth best offensive tackle in this class. Out of the 6, I think that'll end up getting chosen. So that's what New England will do here at 14.
I got the best tackle in the draft, continuing the Alabama to New England pipeline, Brian Branch.
Honestly, that's why I was about to go with it because I know they just well, one of those guys just retired or something, right? McCartney, whatever his name was, I don't know his name. Yeah,
McCourty,
and I know he liked defense, so that's why I was going with Brian Branch.
It's not a bad pick either. Yeah, I don't think Bill Belichick would mind that at all. And then with 15, earlier I had the Jets trading with the Texans 12-15. So the Houston owns this 15 pick. I actually have Houston trading back again. I have them trading back with Minnesota. I have Minnesota going from 23-15, Houston going back to 23. Minnesota's trading up to take Devin Witherspoon, corner out of Illinois. You're going to get their guy. They lost Patrick Peterson. They lost Patrick Peterson this past year, and this is going to be the guy that's going to take over for Patrick Peterson.
I got Paris Johnson going to the Jets at 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's difficult to predict trades, and sometimes even with trades, I end up getting the right spot. So,
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all,
you got to go all in for it, man.
I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm so lost at this this draft thing because I never really sat down and did a mock draft or whatever. And suddenly you bringing up some good points that these possible trades could happen. So it's like, oh man, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff I didn't factor in with this stuff. Yeah.
No, it's hard. It's hard to predict stuff like this, but you really have to know like team needs and stuff like that. And sometimes it's just the player's too good to pass up, you know. And a lot of the
Can I change my number 1 pick to Stetson Bennett, by the way?
Do what?
Can I change my number 1 pick to Stetson Bennett?
If Stetson Bennett gets drafted, I'll be surprised. I'll be honest.
He'll get drafted. I think he'll be.
I think he will get drafted, but
I don't think so.
I think he's a day 2 guy. I'm joking. He's not going number 1. Bryce Young.
Nah,
a day 2 guy. You think Stetson Bennett is a second-round pick?
No. Maybe 4. No. Maybe early day 3, day 4, round 4, round 5.
If Stetson Bennett gets drafted, he gets drafted in the 7th round. There's no shot.
No, he could be a career backup. And you could take teams want him for security.
Is Josh a Georgia fan, Nick Saban Jr.? What? Josh jumped on the Georgia bandwagon all of a sudden?
You don't think Stetson Bennett's going to get drafted at all?
No.
I think Hendon Hooker goes above
him. Drafted like 5th, 6th.
I've heard a lot of teams have problems with his character and his off.
He is a drunk. He's alcoholic.
I didn't want to say it, but
for you.
Anyways, back to we're at pick number 16 now. Previously owned by the Commanders. I had the Commanders trading up for 9, swapping with Chicago. So I got the Bears here, and the Bears sticking to their recent trends. They've been going a lot of Georgia players. I think they're going to go with Nolan Smith, the edge rusher out of Georgia, here at 16.
That's a nice pick.
Christian Gonzalez. Corner.
Yeah. At 17, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They definitely need to beef that O-line up for Kenny Pickett. I have them picking Anton Harrison, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, with the 17th pick.
I got Broderick Jones, Georgia.
Initially, I wanted to put and this is before I even thought about doing this show right here. I thought he would have went to Pittsburgh or something like that, but that was me following all the other craps too.
Yeah. And I think Pittsburgh would love to have Anton Harrison there at 17. And then back to what I was talking about, the team that I think could possibly – you could look at them and they could win this first round, the Detroit Lions. This is their 18th – their second pick of the first round, the 18th overall pick. I have them taking a corner. They just traded Jeff Okudah to the Falcons, so they need a guy. I think they're going to go Deonte Banks, a very underrated corner out of Maryland. Very physical, man-to-man coverage corner. I think he's going to be a great pick for them, and he's going to play in this league a long time. So I think Deontay Banks at 18 to the Detroit Lions makes a lot of sense here.
I'm going tight end
I,
one right here with Hawkinson leaving Detroit. I got Michael Meyer, Notre Dame, former Tommy
Another
Reese
good pick for
product.
them.
that's
They'd be good
that's
with either
that
one.
dude nice. Hey, but I want to pose this question because I don't really have much for this right now. But I want to pose this question: with Jameson Williams being suspended, do y'all think they'll try to go wide receiver
No,
at some point?
No, they may in a later round. The thing about this draft with the receivers is there's not really a ton of top
It's
tier
not.
receivers, but there are a lot of good, like solid receivers you can pick up in the third and fourth round. So they may go receiver third, fourth round, maybe second round, but I don't see him going first round. First round, it's too much to give up.
Jamin would have
for a
been wide
receiver.
receiver one in this draft, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah,
From last
Jameson
year,
would be clear cut receiver one in
Yeah,
this draft.
easily.
Yeah, and so keeping up with the pace, 19 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need they need everything too. They're a team that's really below on their or above their
That,
cap
that
right now.
that's my team, honestly.
The Tampa Bay Bucks. Well, I have them picking the
Yeah.
last offensive tackle of the first round. I have them going to Juan Jones, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. I think he's going to probably take over that right tackle spot as they transition Tristan Wirfs over from right tackle to left. Help Baker Mayfield out a little bit in his first season in Tampa. Definitely probably not going to be a great team this year, but kind of preparing for the future with the Juan Jones pick here.
I got Dalton Kincaid, Utah tight end.
Okay, yeah.
That's nice.
And actually, I have him going next to the Seattle Seahawks, their second pick of the first round, the 20th overall pick. I had them taking Kincaid out of Utah.
I got Darnell right here. I think, if you can hold Will Anderson down for a whole game, I think you're worthy of first round pick, and that's where I'm going, Darnell.
Yeah. 21 got the LA Chargers. I had them taking a position of need that they have had for a couple years now that they really haven't addressed as much as a lot of people, especially a lot of their fans would like them. D-line, I think they go Brian Brzee, defensive
Brian
tackle.
Brzee, yes, sir.
Brian Brzee, tackle out of Clemson.
I got Joey Porter right here from Penn State.
And so here's my 22 is my big trader down. Arizona has traded down from Baltimore from 3rd to 22 with Baltimore. Got a ton of picks for it, but I think they're going to go with the edge rusher out of Iowa, Lucas Van Ness. He's going to fill the hole of J.J. Watt. He's going to be a big time edge rusher. Kind of has the same body style as a J.J. Watt, so I think he'll fill that role nicely in Arizona.
I got Nolan Smith here, so I'm going edge here too. But I have Nolan Smith falling to 22. I just don't think he's big enough for the NFL game as people think he is. Technically, Will Anderson's undersized compared to a lot of modern NFL edges, and Nolan Smith is significantly smaller than Will Anderson. So I still think Baltimore takes a chance on him here, especially with the somewhat ties to Tom Monken from Georgia. Knowing Nolan Smith from there. So I'm going Nolan Smith.
Yep. And at 23, previously owned by the Minnesota Vikings, but I had Houston trading their 12th pick to the Jets for the 15th pick and then trading that 15th pick to the Vikings. So this pick belongs to Houston for me. So I've got Houston taking Khalija Kancey, the big defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. I think they'll address another need on that front seven. So they'll take Will Anderson and Khalija Kancey and kind of be on their way towards a pretty dominant front seven, especially with Christian Harris coming back at that middle linebacker spot. So him in his second season. So I think D'Amico Ryans is going to be heavy defense, I think, especially early on in this draft.
I got Emmanuel Forbes going to Minnesota here.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Second round graded guy, but yeah, definitely a big time interception guy. Kind of reminds me of Trayvon Diggs a little bit.
If I had to switch, I'll go Cam Smith. Actually, Cam Smith. I miss Cam Smith there.
Man, you dirty dog! I had Cam Smith going 24th to Jacksonville right after this pick. I think Jacksonville's kind of came out and talked about how they're pretty much going to take a DB. They need a guy, and I've kind of had Cam Smith fit. He just looks good in that Jacksonville uniform. So I kind of have him going 24th and have had him at this spot for a while.
I'm going Van Ness from Iowa at 24. to Jacksonville.
Pair him with Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad little pair up for sure. 25, my most hated team in the NFL. Absolutely hate the New York Giants. And thank God they're kind of stupid. They're going to pick Jordan Addison here, the receiver out of USC.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
And with that leads to my Dallas Cowboys with the 26th pick. And I would be more than excited, elated if they got Zay Flowers, the receiver out of Boston College. To me, he is the best receiver in this draft.
He is
the best receiver in this draft. He can do it all, outside, inside, twitchy, crisp route runner, probably one of the faster receivers in this class. I would be excited and super elated for him to be the Cowboys' first-round selection at 26.
I'm giving you someone you'd like more, Bijan Robinson. That's why I got Bijan falling to 26.
I just don't think Bijan gets out behind 15. He's very talented, and I just think someone's going to go up and get him or stay and get him. And with 27, got the Buffalo Bills. I've got them taking Trenton Simpson, the linebacker from Clemson, the first linebacker off the board in this class and the only linebacker in the first round. The very linebacker needy after the loss of Tremaine Edmonds. So I think they're going to go get his replacement here in the first round.
I got Deontay Banks, Maryland.
And here with 28, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. And this to me is a humongous, a scary pick. AFC teams, watch out. If they pick this, scary. Jahmyr Gibbs at 28 to the Cincinnati Bengals.
When you said big, I thought you were going Darnell. That's who I got. I got Darnell.
Pair him up with Joe Mixon in that backfield. Two guys that are very different, two running backs that are very different. Joe Burrow throwing to Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield.
I would say
with
the pass game changes.
And Tyler Boyd. That would be an absolutely nasty offense. Probably the best offense in the NFL next season. If you had to if Jahmyr Gibbs on that offense, I think it's something they can't pass up, and it would be a great spot for Jahmyr.
He would look cold in Bengals jerseys with those dreads and then the newer white.
Yeah, he certainly would. He would look good in a
Bengals jersey.
The iced out white helmets would look nice for sure.
Yeah, I think Darnell's going there. I think Darnell. He's probably the recruit I wish Alabama had the most, just because of how big he was, and I just think he's a guy that won't fall out of the first round, and a tight end, golly, would make the Bengals even scarier.
Yeah. And 29 is the New Orleans Saints. To me, they're in the same spot as the Buccaneers, a team that very over the cap, kind of needs everything, except maybe quarterback and got a couple pretty solid receivers. I think they're going to go edge rusher Isaiah Foskey out of Army. He was wearing the same colors that Army, so he's going to be wearing in the NFL. I think he'll really fit their system, the way his style of play, a bullish rusher, passing rusher. So I think that's where they'll go here at 29.
I got Florida guard Osiris Torrance.
Okay, yeah. 30, Philadelphia Eagles. I think they addressed their safety need with Brian Branch here out of the University of Alabama. I think he'd be a great star player. They lost their star player, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And I think that Brian Branch will take that role and run with it, and he'll be the 30th pick, fourth pick from the University of Alabama in the first round, tying Ohio State with 4 picks in the first round.
I got Bama 2 times there too. I got Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think he'll go first round, but I couldn't find anyone else I thought would go to Philadelphia, and I'm gonna say Jahmyr.
Yep, and at 31, the final pick of the first round, due to the Miami Dolphins giving up their first-round pick with some tampering issues, the defending, reigning Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, are going to pick Miles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson. Really good, solid edge rusher, really quick, twitchy. Definitely will use him on that D-line pretty well.
I got Mozzie Smith here from Michigan. Michigan always seems to have a sneaky first-round pick in there. I got Mozzie Smith.
See, Mozzie Smith is the guy I hope Dallas ends up getting in the second round. He's probably the best run-stuffing defensive lineman in this draft. Hopefully Dallas will trade up and get him. But I enjoyed that. That was good to finally have like my NFL draft kind of set in stone. I don't have to do one until Thursday. I'm just really excited to sit down and watch it, and obviously super happy for all these guys that are getting drafted. Life-changing moments for them.
Yes, sir.
Definitely pulling for my Alabama guys, but always good to see. I love watching the family moments they have. It's just a great thing to see, and very exciting time for the NFL, especially kind of in the offseason. So I'm very excited to watch it.
Speaking of that, Nick, do you have Gibbs going first round, or do you think he slips early second round?
I thought I don't know to which team, but I think somebody gets him in the first round, man. Because I just feel like he's too much of an offensive weapon. You know, not just a run, but he's too much of an offensive weapon to slip out. And who brought up him going to Cincinnati?
That was
it
me.
you started?
Yeah,
that'd be so nice, man. That changes that pass game so much.
I could even see him going to the Saints, like with his NFL comparison, the New Orleans Saints. His NFL comparison is Alvin Kamara, and Kamara's got he's gotten in some legal trouble. Might not even play this year. I mean, he's basically Alvin Kamara 2.0. You might as well put him back there. So, I mean, I could see him going at 29 to the Saints. I can see him going at 30 to the Eagles if the Eagles don't pick Bijan with the 10th pick.
That'd be nice too.
If he goes in the first round, it's definitely going to be later in the first round. I think earliest he would be picked is the 21st to the Chargers, the earliest. But I could see him maybe even getting picked by Dallas. Probably not, but maybe Dallas could pick him. So I do think he'll be a first-round pick, though.
Speaking of that, let's go around the table rapid fire. I'm gonna give some Alabama guys and see what round do you think they'll go. We'll go my guy Jordan Battle. Nick, what about you?
Me at second round.
I'm gonna say third or fourth.
I'm gonna say late second, early third, around that time.
Eli Ricks.
Third round.
Third.
I'm gonna say four. Tyler Steen.
Whew. 4.
I'm saying late second. I think teams really like him.
I'm gonna say 6.
Teams like Steen. I've seen him second round mocked.
No,
I'm gonna say 6th round.
Keeping it on the offensive line, what about Emil Ekiyor, who's probably going to play center in the NFL?
Oh, probably like 5th.
I'm going to say 6. Deontay Brown type of range, cornbread range.
Yeah.
Hey, Deontay Brown's going to be blocking for Bryce Young if he gets picked with that number 1 pick.
Yeah, facts.
Who else we got out there? DeMarco Helms.
Oh, DeMarco Helms. That could actually be a sneaky one.
I'm going to say 7.
What you trying to do.
He falls to 7.
I'm going to say 5th.
I got 5th. But I think
he's going to be.
Go ahead.
I think he's going to be one of the guys on the board that where it says best available, but he just stays on there for more rounds than you always think. I think he's that type of guy with his inability in pass coverage. I think he's a guy over time that could probably convert to a linebacker, like
linebacker.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's really suited well for the vertical game.
Yeah,
if he went up against guys like Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, he'd get absolutely torched with.
It depends on what defensive scheme you would try to use him in, because pass coverage he's not it. But if you want to bring him up in the box and stop some runs and make him play everything in front of him, he's that guy.
Yeah. Okay, Byron Young.
Oh,
I'm gonna say
Byron will be a 3rd. Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe even late second.
Defensive line, DJ Dale. I'm gonna say he falls to 6 or 7. I'm gonna say 7 for DJ.
I forgot about the dudes in the draft. I gotta go late pick too. I'm gonna give him 6 because he about.
His 40 was so slow. He wasn't like as standoutish as you'd hope from a defensive lineman that started year 1 at Alabama. Yeah. I don't think he really ever
I don't know
if there's much difference between year 1 DJ Dale as there was year 4. That's the only thing.
Right. He had so many high hopes, man, and he didn't deliver as much.
Okay. Henry To'oTo'o. I think this is an interesting one. I'm gonna say
I'll say 3.
3. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
What about you?
undrafted because I'm not a Toronto fan. I'm just
come on.
playing. I'm just playing. Hey, I got him with one low three.
Jalen Moody, undrafted. He's
Undrafted.
not even healthy.
Undrafted.
Kendall Randolph,
Undrafted.
Undrafted.
Who? Wait, there's got to be more. There's got to be. I think there's a few more. Did we say Latu? Cam
No,
Latu.
Latu. I think Latu would be a 4th round pick.
I think 4th, 5th. I'm gonna say in between there. I think it'll be like late 4, early 5.
Yeah, I got that too.
He did really well on that.
I think he's really
cognitive
talented.
test.
I think he can be used in the modern
Yeah.
NFL. His pass catching's good, and I think he's got real upside to block because he really could. He took a starting job over Jaleel in less than a year. So what can he do over time as a blocker? Like I think it's only upside for Cam.
He also tested as he scored a 98 on the S2, which was tied for Bryce Young with the highest in the NFL. So very smart guy too.
What other guys are invited? Let's see who's left. Okay, Bryce.
Tyler Harrell, undrafted.
Tyler Harrell's still in college.
Yeah. Undrafted.
Engineer. We said BB. We said Rex. We said Battle. I don't know if I've got them all.
I think that's it. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about Alabama roster.
That's it.
I don't want to forget about someone though.
No, I think that's it. I think we got everyone.
Hey, so Josh, who's your team?
Well, I'm a Julio guy, so Julio's out. So I don't know.
Well, he can sign.
I'm an Alabama guy. I pull for where Alabama goes.
I got you.
I pull for the Alabama guys.
Because I was gonna ask, for your team, what was one of the worst, in your opinion, one of the worst draft picks in an early round that you can remember?
So I watched the Falcons over time. I don't think Falcons had really too many bad first round draft picks.
Don't.
Like they had Deion Jones was good. God, what was the safety from Florida? What was his name? Keanu Neal.
Keanu Neal. Yeah.
Yeah, he was good. I think Falcons have been pretty good in the draft.
Falcons have been good. Dallas has been good. Like Dallas didn't really go out on a limb. I think the only person they've really gone out on a limb with, and they really didn't, was Ezekiel Elliott. And he was.
And when I mean early rounds, it can be like first 4 rounds. Like somebody that you would have been like, we could have went better. Like that was a bad pick. Because as a Buccaneers fan, I can tell you mine.
Blaine Gabbert.
No, we went kicker. Like we went.
Not Blaine Gabbert.
We went a kicker from Florida State one year. I forgot what it.
The guy was supposed to Eddie Pinero.
No. They went Roberto Aguayo, or whatever his name was. Yeah, like second round draft pick kicker.
Yes,
in the second round, and he was out of the league in 2 years.
A kicker.
Roberto Aguayo. Yeah.
Yep,
he was awesome.
Exactly.
Really good in college, but he was bad in the NFL. Dallas, I really don't have anyone, honestly.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. I really don't have anyone. I'll be honest. We've drafted really well, but we'll see what happens on Thursday, I guess.
What do you guys all think about Tyler Buckner? I hope he doesn't go to Alabama. I hope he goes.
I hope he doesn't either. I would much rather have Van Dyke than him.
I do not want him. I do not want a quarterback.
Listen,
I like our quarterbacks.
I love our quarterbacks. I'm so content with our quarterbacks. But like I tell people, I try to make it make sense from their standpoint. And like I said, you can't deny that relationship with Tommy Reese. You can't deny it at all. I don't want him. I'm cool with what we have. I'm especially after watching.
Lost the Marshall game.
Marshall,
that's all I have to say.
Yes,
he lost to Marshall.
He lost to Marshall.
I don't care who you have playing. You cannot lose to Marshall if you're Notre Dame.
You can't. Point blank.
Can't. He ain't going to succeed at Alabama if he's losing to Marshall. I don't care who he has out there playing receiver. So,
I'm trying to find. I think that's all the guys in the NFL.
I think we hit them all. I feel
bad if we miss on one guy, but I think we got everyone.
Hey,
Well,
I'm gonna
guys, I
tell
really
y'all this
enjoyed
though.
it.
Y'all put me on some game tonight. Like, I know how to look at this draft because really, I'm seriously like, I check out the pro days or whatever and hear what the media is saying and all that. But I never sat
Yeah.
down and did. I just never because I like NFL, but I'm a Bucks fan. I'm a diehard Bucks fan. But if I miss a game, I don't care as much. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm definitely more of a college football guy, but I watch almost every Sunday. I watch a ton of games. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I breeze through games, but if I don't breeze through games, I also don't care. But especially this draft. Now Thursday, I will watch the draft and just see the players that come up. But it's not like I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a big NFL draft guy, but it's an interesting. Y'all brought interest. Y'all made it real interesting to me tonight. That there's something I'm gonna keep up with now in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Bryson will go number 1 and 2. That'll be.
Let's do it.
Be nice. Be nice for sure.
Honestly, I want Bryce to go to Houston just for the D'Amico
Yes.
Ryans and the whole
And that's
Alabama connection. I honestly want him to go there.
Yeah.
And I
that'd be
don't want
awesome.
him to play for the Panthers because that's my division rival, actually, as well, too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love that. So
Hey, that was an interesting show. I like that. I like that. I'm really gonna be up on this NFL draft stuff, and yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight, guys. Hit us up in the comments because this is a pre-recorded show. It was just, I'll tell y'all later. But y'all, make sure y'all share this episode with everybody and let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments where do y'all think these players will go and these players will land. Let us know in the comments. And guys, we out. Roll Tide and go Bucks.
go
Tide.
Cowboys, baby. Go Cowboys.
Roll Tide.